They say you can tell British National Party members by their sense of humour. We are the only ones who know how to look happy. It's a grey, rainy day at London's City Hall. A good day for Richard Barnbrooks' research staff to release that office pressure at a special event outside. Here's how it works. Victims are enclosed in a protective skittle suit, while their antagonists, well, you get the idea. Elections Officer Eddie Butler has been honing his skittle skills, while Richard's head of research waits patiently to be bowled over. At the end of one game, roles are reversed, and it's time to get your own back on those who knocked you over. She's still standing while all around her have fallen. Even the pouring rain doesn't dampen their enthusiasm. Predictably, no other London Assembly members from any of the other parties were present at City Hall. Only Mr. Barnbrook and his team were engaged in the process of governing London.
Good afternoon. Richard Barnbrooks, Councillor and also a London Assembly member for the GLA, that is the home of the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson. I look a bit damp and shriveled because I've just been a human skittle with 4 skittles, human skittles, and a big inflatable ball. So that's the human side of politics from the British National Party. And I say that because no other London representative was actually down there. I know for a fact that Mayor Boris is actually in the building. He didn't bother to go down to enjoy or get involved with festivities on a rather damp summer's day. But the point was, it was to show that all the people around more London can get involved with some entertainment for the public going by, as well as that, getting a bit damp in the process. Anyway, that sort of humorous element of the politics to one side. I'd like to now bring up 3 key issues. The first one, I think the most pertinent and poignant for London is the fact of the death of so many youths this year. I believe the total is up to 26 minors, that is between the age of 13 and 17, have been killed, murdered by the knife. When these questions are brought up by myself to the Mayor of London, all I get from the opposition, the Rainbow Alliance, now including the Conservatives, is the bendy bus, the route master. And then from the Lib Dems, it's almost, well, what colour's the costumes going to be? And then from Labour, are they going to be large, thin, fat, small, PC this, PC that? And they seem to be putting questions forward. These are representatives from this year's elections in London, putting questions forward, representing their communities that have no benefit and no real impact on issues that affect every single Londoner in this capital city. And that is the escalating knife crime. So Boris comes out with stupid comments like, knives are coloured blind. Sorry, Boris, run that past me again. Knives are coloured blind. Well, I've yet to see a knife jump off a shelf and impale it in someone's back. These crimes are done by a certain part of the community. And I've mentioned it again, and I'll mention it now again. And the fact is that 49% of knife crime is committed by only 9% of the population of London. And those people are African, Afro-Caribbeans. This is not a race statement. It's simply a fact that it's affecting every single person. Black on black crime, black on Asian, black on white, white on black as well. But the proportions are way over the top. And Boris Johnson's doing nothing to address this, along with his little assembly. This I will continue. As you can see on my chest, I have a badge. London's Mothers Against Knives. This campaign has been running now for pretty much 6 months, but in earnest for the last 2 months. And in Barking, Dagenham, and Havering, and parts of Redbridge alone, 22,000 signatures are coming in. And there's certain official bodies now willing to work with us because the Mayor of London has simply neglected 2 parts of state investigation into the purchase of knives by minors. And I think all people should participate in this. Get in contact with me, either through Barking Dagenham Council or through here, the GLA. Now, let's turn to another matter of real positive discrimination, real positive racism on behalf of groups, minority groups in London and in Britain. Now, with my assistants here, my researcher and my 2 PAs, we managed to overturn 2 projects that the GLA, through the Mayor, fund. One was the NAAR, the National Association Against Racism. Now, this body is set up primarily to attack not the general scope of racism, which cuts both ways. It's simply to attack the British National Party. Now, Boris Johnson was given £5,000 a month, £60,000 a year, roughly. And this was going out of taxpayers' money. Now, I said to Boris, if you continue paying this money, which is directly set up to attack us, I will take you to the European Court of Human Rights and to the Standards Board on the grounds of putting money, taxpayers' money, into third-party politicians to attack your directly elected members. This is unconstitutional and directly opposed to the working of the GLA. That was number one. Boris Johnson, of course, backed out. He withdrew the £5,000. Now, if I do anything to actually deserve my wage by removing that £60,000 to this nonsense setup, I've actually paid for my being in the GLA this year alone. And I will do a lot more with my team. The second issue is, some of you may be aware of this festival of culture that goes through London once a year called Rise. Well, Boris Johnson put £300,000 into that. And again, I approached him. I said, you are fully aware, Mayor Boris, that this whole setup is purposely put there to attack the British National Party and any other level-headed thinking people that believe in nationalist identity and Britain's identity, such as St. George's Day. And he said, well, what's this got to do with anything? But I said, you remove the race out of Rise, or once again, I will take you to the Court of Human Rights and to the Standards Boards of financing political bodies that don't even believe in democracy, attacking your own directly elected members through a proper democratic process. Once again, another victory. He removed the finance, and I believe it was around another £50,000 or so. If it wasn't that, he removed the race out of Rise. The unions went ballistic, but still Boris Johnson could not back down, even though pressure was coming onto him from every single direction of the unions and the lefties and the commies. Now, this was again achieved by the aid of my working staff. This will continue. Now, I sincerely believe that the Labour, the Lib Dems, the Greens, and even Boris Johnson isn't concerned with me, the British National Party, being inside this building, because they don't believe we're racists, or nasty, or evil, or thugs, or fascists, or any other term you want to use. They are frightened on one ground, that we will constantly scrutinise the budget. That is the reason this Rainbow Alliance do not want us inside this building. On the grounds I've just explained, two situations of poor management of finance towards third-party groups that simply do not believe in democracy and intend to attack certain members of this assembly in whichever means they can. This will be stopped, and that is what they're frightened of. Looking over that budget day in and day out and pulling it apart, and that to you, Londoners and British people worldwide, I will promise that every mistake this assembly and this mayor makes will be picked up and thrown back at them. Thank you.